Welcome to the Brooklyn Botanic Garden. I'm Marci Reed. I'm the Senior Vice President of Public Affairs for National Grid, and I am so pleased to be here today. We are here to celebrate the Garden's lead as being the Garden's lead corporate partner for Project Green Reach. And just so you know, and you can tell from the folks around, it's been a very busy week for National Grid in Brooklyn. Earlier this week, we announced our partnership with City Year's Whole School, Whole Child program, another demonstration of our commitment to Brooklyn. And later tonight, here in the Palm House, we're celebrating with some of our employees to celebrate the successes they've had in our annual Chairman's Award. So it's a big deal for us here in Brooklyn. It's a really big week. I do want to point out that Rabbi Jacob Goldstein, Chair of Community Board 9, is here with us. Thank you for joining us. We have many National Grid employees here as well. But to kick us off, I'd like to introduce a man who doesn't need introduction, the Brooklyn Borough President, Marty Markowitz.
Thank you. I'll add what I said yesterday, and that is that let me just pump myself up now, because I'm a big customer of National Grid now. As you know, some of you may not know, I'm a homeowner now for the first time, and I've been pleased to pay my third bill. And so I want you to know, you shouldn't worry, I pay my bill on time, and my God, that's all I can put up. I tell the story because I used to have, living in an apartment, I only had gas for the oven, which when you marry one woman I marry, who I love and adore, but cooking would not define her. So the bill became the $30 every 2 months. Going from that to what is now, revelation. That's all. But you know what? I'm honored to do it. So John Caroselli and Joe Rendy and Mr. King and Steve Holliday and I got to say, I love your accents. And you should know that Brooklyn is also Kings County, which is what we're called. And by the way, you folks gave us our name, Kings County, not Brooklyn, but Kings County. We speak the King's English. So there are a lot of similarities between London and Brooklyn. We know that for sure. But let me congratulate all of you. I really mean it. Earl, Weiner, and everyone from the Brooklyn Botanic Gardens. This is a gem, jewel of not only Brooklyn, but of the whole metropolitan area. It's the most beautiful garden. And the work that they do, the outreach they do to young people, and especially in the areas of environment, conservation, and a celebration of life, is all worthy of your very generous donation. And I must tell you, whether you were called Brooklyn Union Gas, or whether you were called Keyspan, or now, of course, National Grid, there is a long tradition of your company, long tradition of adopting Brooklyn as your child, and of really nurturing Brooklyn and being in the forefront, as we all, because I see all the Weiss here and others, and I know that all of us are beneficiaries of your respect and your support of Brooklyn. Because you know, the better Brooklyn does, the better National Grid. We have a relationship that's unique and very, very special. And I'm thrilled that the folks at National Grid have continued that excellent tradition as we move forward. So I congratulate you all and thank you for the great support of this magnificent asset that we have here, our beloved Brooklyn Botanic Garden. Thank you very, very much. And enjoy your dinner later.
Marty, did you notice the sun came out?
Hey, always in Brooklyn.
It's all
Bet you're
about
training in
Marty.
Manhattan. I'm telling you.
Oh man, right. Well, some of you will know that this is the 100th anniversary of the Brooklyn Botanic Garden, and we are so proud to have been a partner, as Marty mentioned, for a long time, going back actually to the early 80s. The garden is a long-standing pillar within the community here, and their programs, collections, and specialty gardens have been reflective of the many cultures in Brooklyn. From the garden, we have Chairman Emeritus Earl Weiner, and Leslie Finland, who's the Vice President of Development, here today to receive a really big check. But first, I'd like to bring Chairman Weiner to the stage. Thank you.
Thank you. I should start by admitting that I was called at the very last moment to ask if I would be responsible for the weather tonight. And I, with some trepidation, took it on, but as you can see, we've done pretty well, and I'm delighted we have such a gorgeous evening for this event. It's indeed a great pleasure and really an honor for me to accept on behalf of the Board of Trustees and the staff of the garden this extraordinarily generous gift from National Grid, which, as you know, is to support Project Green Reach, which is our science enrichment program for students in the public schools here in Brooklyn. A lot of what the specific target of the project is our Title I schools, which have a high percentage of lower income families in them. So it's particularly important to us that we are providing resources where they are most needed. As was said, this is the 100th anniversary year of the garden, and this project is, I think, indicative of what our missions for the entire 100 years, particularly in bringing education to children and in supporting our local communities. And so it's particularly nice as we go into our second 100 years that we continue that mission with this grant and this project today. We've had, as was also said, we've had a long-standing relationship with National Grid and its predecessors, and including having on our board for many years Bob Cattell, the former CEO of National Grid USA, and Keith Spanham, and perhaps still it was even Brooklyn Union Gas when he actually took over it. And I actually had the pleasure of having lunch with him shortly before he became chairman to try to entice him to come onto the board, and it was a wonderful decision on both parts, I can assure you. Anyhow, I'd like to conclude by saying that we're very pleased to enlarge our relationship with National Grid by this extraordinary act of generosity and this very important project. It's also indicative of National Grid's policy of supporting the communities in which it is located, and also in promoting scientists of the future through their Engineering Our Future program. So we thank you very much and welcome you.
Well, now with the meat of the presentation here, I'd like to introduce to you National Grid's Chief Executive Officer, Steve Holliday.
Good evening. Great pleasure to be here and be last. Because I've got nothing to say. I think you've all said it for me, which is fantastic. Because, and it's nice actually, if I may say so, that you understand why we're doing this in many ways. Because this is about, for us as an organisation, a business, but a 30,000 people company who care passionately about a number of things. We care passionately about the communities in which we work. This is our community, as you said, Marty. We care passionately about children and educating children. We care passionately about children who are disadvantaged to an extent and don't get everything that they need. And we care passionately about the environment and creating the sort of children's education for the future so they can address the challenges. So as you said it all, it just absolutely fits everything that we stand for as an organisation. And I'm delighted to be part of that organisation and here this evening. We have some big challenges in front of us as a business. We have some big challenges in front of us, I think, as a society. And as Earl said, one of those challenges means that we're going to need lots of bright children in the future to come up with lots of creative solutions. And getting children excited about science early in their lives, understanding the environment early in their lives, and then inspiring them to want to go on to do other things is absolutely at the heart of so many of the things that we want to do. And this is absolutely going to do that, I'm sure, without any doubt at all. And 100 years? I thought for a second you were going to say we've been supporting for 100 years, because Brooklyn Uni has been, of course, been around that long as well. But it's great to be here this evening, it really is, and I'm just very proud and delighted that we can be part of this. This is going to go a long way the next 3 years, hopefully, to getting a lot of kids not just educated, but also inspired. And if we can do that in partnership together, then that's going to make us, as an organisation, extraordinarily happy, I can assure you. So thank you very much. And I now have the great pleasure of handing over what was referred to as a big cheque. I wasn't quite sure whether Marci meant the amount, which is large as well, but also the size of it. So it is a great pleasure to give you this, Earl. It really is.
Thank you very much.
It's a square cheque, yeah? It's a big cheque, yeah. Have you ever taken one of these into a bank and had it cashed?
I'm going to try.
You're going to try, yes? Good.
It's Brooklyn.
HSBC.
Okay. Super. Yeah, thank you very much.
Pleasure to meet you.
That's you as well.
HSBC.
You take care of the check. You can keep the check, yes.
That concludes our presentation. Thanks for coming. Thanks for your support. Have a good night. Thank you.